Marcial Maciel. He was hailed as a visionary leader, a man of God. But Marcial Maciel's legacy is a dark one, marked by abuse, deceit, and betrayal of trust. Welcome to Curiosity Cabinet, where we expose the truth behind the man, the myth, and the scandal that rocked the church. Marcial Maciel founded the Legion of Christ in 1941, which quickly expanded internationally as a highly disciplined Catholic order. Vatican cover-ups and high-level connections. Reports of abuse started in the 1950s. John Paul II protected Maciel and ignored accusations. In 1997, journalists published a major exposé by Jason Berry in the Hartford Courant. In 2006, Pope Benedict removed him quietly with no trial and no defrocking. The church enabled him. We can't let his legacy be forgotten or erased.
Let's talk about Marcial Maciel, one of the worst predators of all time. We've all heard about what goes on with the priests and the boys and how the Vatican covers it up. Well, this is the primest example of all the creepy priests that there could be. You could say the GOAT. No, let's not call it. No.
I mean, we're not talking about Drake.
No, let's say he's a top tier pervert, top tier priest pervert.
Yeah.
The guy had power. He was the leader of one of the biggest congregations, Catholic congregations in the world, the Legions of Christ. He was like the Tony Montana of priest, pervert priest.
Mm-hmm.
Or how would you say? How would you describe this guy?
I like the Tony Montana comparison. Everything he did was for personal gain at the expense of someone else. Exploiting people that were vulnerable, couldn't protect themselves. I would just say he's a complete sociopath.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
And he was known to be like the biggest donator to the Vatican in modern Catholic times.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody gave more money to the Vatican than this dude. Yeah. So the Vatican loved him so much and covered up decades of systematic abuse with boys. This is the first of many episodes where we're going to talk about crazy, bizarre, strange, real stories, the dark, bizarre part of the world. Let's tell the story of Maciel. How did he get in power? How did he become the leader of one of the biggest congregations in the world?
Marcial Maciel was the founder of Legion of Christ, a powerful Catholic order. Born in 1920, he founded the order at just 20 years old. Praised by popes, especially John Paul II, called a model for youth. Ran the order for over 60 plus years, amassing power, money, and control.
He became the leader of the Legions of Christ because he had a vision where he saw many priests and he was like the leader. He was in charge of something.
Mm-hmm.
He was sort of like a messenger of God, which is the same thing that happens with every congregation.
Yeah.
It's always like they either spoke to God, they had a message from God, or they had some sort of vision where they were some divine figure, or at least connected to a divine figure, which is also part of the crazy power fantasy they have.
Absolutely.
That's why I thought Tony Montana was a good comparison, because the guy's just crazy. He wants to get powerful.
Yeah, it's systematic. So when they believe that he is a vessel of Christ, when they believe that he is like a god himself, it's kind of like what the Roman emperors used to do, where they would give orders. They would say things, even if it was absolutely crazy, at everyone else's expense, but people viewed them as being divine. And I believe that that's kind of the same thing. It's the ideology that you find in many different cults, Scientology, and various different criminal organizations where people will look up to one person as an idol.
Exactly, just like Ronald Hubbard, they thought that he was some sort of prophet, and he found out the reality of the world and how we are all connected to aliens or something. So from there, they just believed him, and it became a religion that lasted so many years until now, all because some dude had a vision and people decided to believe him.
These guys need therapy.
They do. How did he build such a massive following? So pretty much to sum it up, after he had this vision and he got priests following him, the guy started connecting with very important people, political figures, millionaires. Actually, he had a connection with the dictator in Spain, Franco, who actually gave him property in Spain to make his first big monastery. And during that monastery, he was systematically abusing boys. He would send boys from Mexico to Spain on a boat, and he would have them in rooms full of bunk beds where they would sleep. He basically made his own pervert's paradise. How he had such a massive following too was money.
Mm-hmm.
He just donated so much money to the Vatican that people trusted him and followed him.
Yes.
They saw him as a role model. They thought he was doing good.
And that ties us into the next part. Cult-like control. Members took vows never to criticize him. It was forbidden by rule. Internal propaganda portrayed him as a living saint. Additionally, he controlled every part of seminarians' lives, where they lived, who they spoke to, what they did, you name it. Sounds exactly like cult behavior, right?
Exactly. It's just like the ex-Scientologist Aaron was telling me. When he was in the high organization of, the high part of Scientology, C organization, they also control where they live, where they slept. Even the cafeterias where they ate were controlled by Scientology. And at the same time, they took a vow to never criticize or even question anything a superior says or the church says. And at the same time, if you catch anybody else talking badly about the church or about a superior, you are expected to rat on that person. Exact same thing right here. Exact same thing. So it is definitely code-like behavior. And the Jehovah's Witnesses do the same thing. It's another congregation, but it's a suspicious one. I think it's more of a cult, really, too, because they can't really speak against the religion. They're not allowed to really interact too much, from what I've heard, with people who are not in the religion.
There's also this crazy aspect with Jehovah's Witness. They can't get blood transfusions and certain surgeries, so they would leave their loved ones to die in the name of Jehovah. This is kind of strange because this is the type of behavior of somebody that doesn't walk with God. Because you think that God's supposed to be a freeing thing, in my opinion, personally. In my life, I know that God is supposed to be something that enlightens you, brings you somewhere better, changes your perspective, helps you to be a better person. This behavior is not the behavior of somebody that's aligned with God. This is the behavior of somebody that, in my opinion, is evil. What would you say?
Yeah, same. Totally. It's not. That's why it's really hard for me to really respect that religion if we're going to be truly talking, because the way they control their members doesn't seem to me like it's an act of love or it's teaching love.
Yes.
And I don't know what they were teaching too much to these kids in this monastery, but I can't imagine it's very valuable, honestly.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about power and control. Completely systematic. It seems more like a trap, right? And the thing I find crazy is that their parents would allow them to go there. How could you be so naive to allow your own child into the hands of another man that you barely know? So this is the thing that I find is the strangest. He obviously had a charisma about him that was very persuasive, enigmatic, eccentric. He was able to talk to people from various walks of life and convince them that this was a good thing. When in reality, behind closed doors, I mean...
He was a charming, and that's where he has the dictator aspect to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also like a kingpin. I feel like those people who gain so much power, they need to be charming.
Definitely.
We're going to talk about the heavy stuff now, the actual abuse.
Over the years, it is said that Maciel abused at least 60 minors, mostly young seminarians. He would abuse them, then hear their confessions, which added spiritual trauma. He told victims it was a gift from God. Victims were isolated, silenced, and gaslit.
Yeah, so what he would say is he would get them to sit on their lap and confess to them. One of the kids, the testimonies, the victim said that he could feel his...
So essentially he was getting pleasure from the interaction with the children.
Yeah, and it's so sick because the kid, it's so sick because the kid was opening up, was in a vulnerable state. He was confessing. So imagine not just the abuse, but the abuse during a confession. Like, How must that confuse you? That must be so confusing as a little boy. You don't understand what's happening.
Well, imagine being in that position where as a child, you're already vulnerable. And then opening up like that makes you even more vulnerable. Think about the type of trauma that must have on the child's development and the type of trauma that's going to be passed down to his children, his grandchildren. This is a thing that affects families for generations, not just the kids that are involved, right?
Yeah.
It's a ripple effect. And that's the thing I find the craziest, it completely aligns with everything you hear from other cult members too, just the way it affects their family. It breaks up families. It breaks them up from the center, ruining lives. Essentially, who knows how many of those people are going to suffer from mental illnesses and various different things after this.
It's a hard one to heal from. Their relationship with sex is just not going to be the same.
Absolutely. I mean, how could you have a normal romantic relationship with somebody or even trust somebody when you've been put into that position?
Yeah, imagine the trust issues.
It's insane. How does a person actually heal from this?
And the guy telling them it was a gift from God, too. So they were just so confused. Is this really what a gift from God is supposed to be like?
Yeah.
What is even going on, It's just,
It's disgusting.
It's hard to think about. It's, disgusting. Those victims, they will speak out and send letters to the Vatican, to the Legions of Christ, denouncing Maciel. And they would just be shut down.
I can only imagine how tough that place must be when you're sitting in that position. You feel completely violated. It's psychological abuse. You're changing somebody's thinking even through the gaslighting, for example, the isolation, being silenced. It's how we compared him to a dictator. That's what dictators do to their society. They take away the essentials, so you have to depend on them. And these kids gained a dependency on him.
Yeah.
He was like their caretaker. This is absolutely disgusting. What type of person would do this? And how is that person's heart, if they even have one?
Could be that the guy was sick.
I
mean,
so.
He was definitely sick. Maybe some sort of psychopath or power-hungry narcissist. He definitely wasn't right in the head.
Definitely. In addition to the sexual abuse, he had secret families and allegedly engaged in incest. Maciel had 2 families in Mexico and Spain. He fathered at least 6 kids. He allegedly abused his own son, according to a public testimony. He faked identities and used fake passports to hide his double life. Sounds like Jason Bourne or, this is like what you see in a spy movie, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's insane.
It's like Jason Bourne with Jeffrey Epstein.
It's crazy. How would you even hide multiple families as a celibate priest?
Yes, that's a crazy one. How much did the guy change his identity? This guy was just out there partying in Tijuana at the best places, drinking at the best bars, staying at the best hotels. He had like a double, maybe triple life.
I'm sure you've also heard about the allegations that he was also sexually assaulting women in the process too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Not just boys, but also women. So the guy was just a complete ass.
Complete deviant.
Just fueled by his own urges. Everything that he did was just to please himself too, out of his own personal pleasure.
It's a disgrace.
Yeah, such a disgrace. People looked up to him, and it must suck for all the people, all the actual good people that were believing in him. And
I mean, there's another question. It's like, did the church know all along? Because we know that the Vatican covered up for him. But the real question is, how many people who were associated with him knew about his actions? They knew about these crimes. How many people didn't say anything because of fear? Because of worrying that they would be found to be complicit in some way? Or because they're afraid, that maybe he would come after them. Maybe the people that worked with him, the people that he knew, financial elite, political elite, would somehow try to silence them or maybe even vanish them.
There was definitely a circle up in the church that knew about this, because the allegations weren't only against Maciel, but they were also against other priests from the Legions of Christ. So there was definitely at least a few people that knew about this in the church. The Vatican, there was evidence supporting that they knew. They had files registered. Several people accused not only Maciel, but other priests of abuse and sent letters to the Vatican, and they would just ignore them or reply shutting them down too, as they did with the Legions of Christ. Oh yeah, the guy had a morphine addiction.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was shooting up everywhere in front of the kids. He just had needle marks all over his arms. And he would say it was for his holy suffering. He faked illnesses to get prescriptions, was sending kids to get the prescriptions because he would be consuming so much that he couldn't be getting the prescriptions himself. Otherwise, they would say, this is not medication, this is abuse.
I heard that he was also addicted to Demerol.
Yeah.
Maciel faked illnesses to justify drug use. Followers believed it was holy suffering. He even traveled with syringes and drugs to the Vatican.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
The guy couldn't even hold it. Even in the Vatican, he was shooting up. And people knew in the Vatican, they were actually asking Maciel to go to treatment because he had an addiction, but they didn't kick him out. They were opening the doors for him to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So even knowing he was an addict and he had allegations against kids that he was abusing, they would still welcome him back. So like what line do you have to cross as somebody in his position for you to be just kicked out of whatever place you're in, you know?
Yeah. So in addition to him being a predator, he was also a junkie and a con man.
Yeah.
This is insane.
It is insane. It's insane, this case. Predator, junkie, con man, priest.
So Vatican cover-ups and high-level connections. Reports of abuse started in the 1950s. John Paul II protected Maciel and ignored accusations. In 1997, journalists published a major expose by Jason Berry in the Hartford Courant. In 2006, Pope Benedict removed him quietly with no trial and no defrocking. Maciel reportedly had connections with powerful political figures, including Spanish dictator Francisco Franco, also known as the Caudillo of Spain, which helped him shield him from scrutiny. Additionally, he was also connected to Salinas, the former president of Mexico, as well as Salinas' brother and the former governor of Chihuahua. These ties reinforced his untouchable status, allowing him to operate with near total impunity. He died in 2008, never was punished, which I find to be a complete injustice. What would you say?
It's the worst injustice. The guy never paid for any of his crimes. He never had a punishment, so it's complete injustice.
Mm-hmm.
And the allegations started in the 50s and went on for decades.
Mm-hmm.
It was until 2006 that they kicked him out because there were just too many allegations. And what Maciel and the higher up people were saying was that there were many people trying to defame him, like it was a tactic against Maciel. So Maciel was the victim in this case. Is this what the Legion of Christ and some people from the Vatican were saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was not till 2006 where it was just too many. The media had too much attention in Maciel, where they just, instead of saying, okay, maybe this guy is actually what people say, the hundreds of people say he is, maybe we should get him the right justice. Maybe justice should do its thing, but no. They just chose to remove him quietly. No trial, nothing. Complete injustice.
Absolutely. Just think about the damage to the survivors. No justice, no accountability. He just completely got away scot-free.
Yeah, it sucks.
I mean, like I said before, this is a disgrace. It's a disgrace to them, to their families, to their future children and grandchildren. I mean, this is going to affect people for generations to come. And think about the trust issues that these people are going to have and how that's going to affect them in the world on their daily life.
Yeah, their relationship with sex is just completely ruined their trust to... That's trust issues for life.
Absolutely, yeah. Over the years, there's also been allegations of other church abuse cover-ups as well, too, additionally to this. So just think about how widespread this could be.
Yeah, it could be just because there's so many congregations, right?
Absolutely.
So it's just one of who knows how many there are in the world.
Like a smaller congregation that is less known could get away with it longer than him, too. I mean, he got away for several decades. But think about somebody that is unknown to the public, somebody that is complete silence. It could be anywhere. I've heard similar allegations with priests in Ireland that came out a few years back. BBC published an article on that. It's insane because this seems like it's something that is more common than not. And I don't think that the authorities do enough to counteract this or to prevent it from happening.
Definitely not. So why do you think the Vatican covered it up for so long?
I think that the Vatican covered it up because they're afraid of their own reputation. I think that they're afraid because of the political ties, the elites that they're tied to, and the amount of people that look up to the Pope, that look up to the Vatican, that, they devote their whole life to this, right? I think that if they were to come out with this information, that it would completely ruin their reputation, that people would no longer have that trust. People would look at them as being something evil even. And with Jeffrey Epstein, it's a similar case, political ties, high-level financial ties, these elite people that he's tied with. I believe that's why they haven't released a list with that too. There's a lot of parallels in these two stories, sexual abuse being tied to elites. Why is that? I feel a lot of the time it's more about protecting their own personal interests than it is about justice for the people that suffer.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's just bad publicity for them, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Also, probably he gave so much money to them that maybe they still do the Legions of Christ to the Vatican. So it's a bad income too. It's just bad business.
Definitely.
Bad publicity, bad business. It's just not worth it for them.
The fact that it's even a business says something.
Yeah. Why are these guys like Marcial Maciel getting $50,000 a month just to spend freely, staying in luxurious places? It's almost like in the show Righteous Gemstones, how much luxury they have.
Kind of like Kenneth Copeland even.
Yeah, like Kenneth Copeland, exactly. Who knows what's going on in that church too.
Yeah. With money, there's always the ability to cover up your tracks, right?
Right.
And unfortunately, we're talking about the expense that this has on the survivors. If it's a business, then at what expense are they profiting? Is it people suffering, people's lives being ruined? There's no morality to this.
No.
These are people that claim to walk with God, but clearly don't. These are people that have a cold heart. They're evil. These are not good people.
Maciel's legacy is still strong today. The Legion of Christ is still active today. They acknowledge his crimes. They did, but they're trying to move on.
Yep.
Which I guess, in a way, it's fair because maybe they are doing a lot of good things. I mean, obviously that Maciel and the other priests around him, maybe there are a lot of good people there who are doing good things. What should happen to them? Like, what do you think is the right thing for an organization where the founder and the people higher up were systematically abusing, exploiting people for their own pleasure, for their greed? Should this still be continuing today? Is that the right thing? Should it be disbanded? What about all the people who are there working today? Or maybe the whole thing was just a scam and really what they're teaching is not really valuable and it was all just made for their own pleasure. So really everything else they put together doesn't have any value to it because intentions were bad from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's a hard one. I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, what I would say was that they should at least change the name. And they should also filter out whoever joins. So whoever is going to be in a position of power should have a background checked on them. They should make sure that they are no longer doing the same things that Maciel did and that they are actually doing things that help the public as opposed to affect the public by destroying their lives, abusing them, creating trauma. I do think that if they're able to change their structure and they're able to move on, then there's nothing wrong with it. But it's a question of, are they aligned with their morals and what's ethical, or are they still doing things that are far from that?
Also, how's the foundation of the Legions of Christ? Is there actually good knowledge there? That's what I wonder.
That's a good question.
Because if their intentions from the beginning were tainted, I don't think they put hard love into it.
If the whole foundation's built off of a complete lie, then perhaps it should be disbanded. If the foundation can be revised and it can be changed so that it's something that serves the people that is actually serving Christ, that is actually working in alignment with what's right, with what's ethical, even if you want to say what's godly, then that's fine. But how do they do that if for so many decades they've been living this lie? They've been doing these things under the table, getting away with it. I mean, it's a good question. It's a very, very hard to say, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, if there's good people there and they want to continue, great. But it's kind of, at the same time, I don't like the idea of this asshole's legacy continuing.
Yeah.
Because the fact that this thing's alive in as many groups means he's got a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. It should just end right there. And if the people want to create something new with good intention.
How can you prevent this from happening again?
Yeah.
How can you prevent other people from going through what these survivors went through?
How do you stop this stuff from happening? Definitely not sending your kids to sleep in a place full of priests away from the parents. That's one way, for sure. That should just not happen ever. Keep your kids at home.
Absolutely.
There's probably other ways, but that's a sure one.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give too much power to one person. Always. Don't put people on a pedestal as well. Always question people's intentions. Don't just give your full trust to somebody because they sound good. They sound like they make sense. Always have that part of you where you're questioning what you hear.
Yeah.
I think that's another way to make sure this doesn't happen.
What I'm getting out of this is vigilance.
Yeah.
If they're practicing vigilance, they're being aware, they're questioning things more, questioning the motives, questioning the intention, making sure they know the full picture before they engage in this. I mean, especially when it's something like sending your kids somewhere with a person that you don't know, especially a man.
Yeah.
How can you do that without knowing anything about the person? Just based off of this facade, right? This is a complete stranger. Everything that he told these people was a lie. So at the end of the day, I do think it's a matter of precaution, paying attention, that awareness. And I do think that things like this have to happen, unfortunately, in order for people to understand what they need to look out for. Because if this didn't happen, and I know it's a tough thing to even say.
For sure.
Stuff like this is what changes the narrative going forward and changes people's viewpoint. And this is what helps people to look into things more, study it more. Like anything that's bad in history that's happened has taught us a lesson. Whether it's World War II, whether it's empires, slavery, any heady subject like that has taught us something about humanity, human nature, and the flaws that we all have. I personally believe people have a good heart, but I don't think that people are all the same in nature. I think that it's a matter of also having that realization.
If something that history has taught us is that it repeats itself.
Yep.
So if you see a priest or somebody higher up in power that's systematically abusing kids, it's probably not the only time it's going to happen. It's probably happened before. It's probably going to keep happening. Use this to your judgment and learn from it. Don't send your kids away from home in a place full of men which I think most people now are so aware of this that most won't do it.
Over the years, there have been several statements made by survivors of Maciel. Here's a statement from Jose Barba. I was just a boy when Marcial Maciel preyed on me. For years, I remained silent, afraid no one would believe me. But I'm speaking out now because the truth matters. He used his position to abuse us, and the church enabled him. We can't let his legacy be forgotten or erased.
And he also said, he asked me to pleasure him under the pretext that he had pains in his private parts. My hand froze, and he got angry, pulled my hand out from under the sheets, and scolded me, saying, "You don't know how to do it." He would send boys as messengers to other boys and tell them that Maciel wants to see them in his office or in his room. And many times when the kids would go, he would be in his bathtub, saying that he's in pain, pretend to be in a sickness, and he'd make them feel bad. They'd be like, "How can we help you?" And he convinced them that the only way that he can help them is by pleasuring him. And mind you, these are 8-year-old boys. They don't know what any of this is. So they were just trying to help. The guy's a sick asshole for that. Sick. The worst type of manipulating I can think about.
Completely vile.
So yeah, horrible. The worst part of everything is he never paid the punishments. He died of old age, basically, and
complete injustice. Here's another statement from a survivor of Maciel, Fernando Martinez. Marcial Maciel stole my innocence, my trust, and my faith. The church knew, but they chose to protect them instead of us. I'm speaking now because no one should ever go through what we endured. And this is heavy.
Yeah, it is heavy, heavy stuff. Horrible to think about, hard to imagine going through that as a boy. And also makes you feel angry.
Absolutely.
Thinking this guy got away with it and the stories of the abuse. It feels so frustrating just hearing this and not being able to do anything, just imagining how much more of this stuff is happening out there in the world. And yes, people keep getting away with it.
Where's Bruce Wayne when you need him?
Yeah, seriously, or the Punisher.
Absolutely. It's crazy, man.
Even Thanos.
Oh, yeah.
You snap, every predator gone. Every human trafficker gone. What do you think was the worst part of all this, the most shocking part? How many more cases do you think are out there like this one? Would you say this is the worst, or is there another worse one that you know about? If you know about one, comment down below, please. We want to hear. Thank you for staying till the end, and let us know in the comments what was the most shocking part of this episode of the whole Maciel case to you.
Please subscribe for more episodes just like this.
Or Maciel will appear in your closet tonight.
Whoa.